What is up, everyone? Welcome! I am your humble host, Pete Rogers, and I am joined by my fellow nerds, the working girl, Jordan Smith, and the resident old man, Clark Barnes, spicing up the order there. Guys, how are we doing today?
Doing great, Pete.
Doing swell.
See well. I am just moving myself around this screen so that I can see you guys. We are, if you're watching on the YouTube show, which you should, because we're doing some high-level production here, some high-level visuals. We're doing a mock draft. But as Clark said before we started recording, as we all know, no mock draft is right. Every mock draft is wrong. And so why put in the effort of trying to be right when we could just have some fun? And we are doing a chaotic a chaotic mock draft, a chaos mock draft in which we'll draft the first round of the 2023 NFL draft. But we have over here, as you can see, we have our wheel, and our wheel has many options on it to determine what we have to pick at each pick. So we have each position group. We also have trade. So we have to make a trade occur. We have offense, straight defense. We have straight from a mock. So we'll load up any random old mock draft and decide from the mock what pick is there. A Bill Belichick or Pete Carroll-esque reach, a player whom no one thinks should go in the first round, but will end up going in the first round. Boring consensus, the address their number one need, according to, we're using I gotta move us around. Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator. And they will give you team needs. And so this will based on what that says. And I think that's all I have for here. Do you guys have any? Are there any that I should quickly add to this wheel before we start?
This looks great.
Perfect. Clark's on board.
I'm just crushing claws, ready to mock draft.
Ain't no laws.
That's I'm very jealous. I'm crushing a day tripper pale ale from Indeed Brewing.
I rolled out from under the C20. The exhaust is just fighting me like you would not believe. So I needed a manly cool down. And now we mock draft. What a day.
What a day for Clark Barnes.
What a day.
All right. Well, we're going to select all teams and we're going to draft. Now, I would like to petition. Whoa. I know that this completely goes against the ethos of this experiment, but I feel like the number one pick has been decided. It seems as though Bryce Young is going to the Carolina Panthers. Before I put them in this, I want to propose to you: no pick is above the wheel spin, or do we want to try to at least get one pick right? I leave it to you.
Well, whose turn is it?
Oh, that's true too. We also do have turns. Let's make sure Clark gets the Texans because that's important.
Gross.
Jordan, you start us off. Do you want to spin the wheel or do you want to pick Bryce Young? This is the only option in which you get to choose a player.
I want to spin the wheel.
All right, let's spin the wheel then.
Bryce Young's not the first QB on my board. So
there you go. Well,
I'll take the chaos.
All right. Well, the boring consensus is what is selected for the number one overall pick. Jordan's been thwarted.
The consensus is Bryce Young, so that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Today is Bryce Young. I mean, it was CJ Stroud 40 minutes ago. I mean,
it seems like Bryce Young. The what am I trying to say? The wheels are aligning. That's not it. It's aligning. The stars.
The echo chamber is
the reverberating. Is echoing, and it seems like they are echoing the name. All right, Clark, spinning for the Houston Texans at number 2.
I will also take the wheel because
the only pick number 1 gets an option. You are spinning from here on out. Ooh, and the Houston Texans get D-line.
The only good move Nick Caserio has made in his tenure as GM is hiring D'Amico Ryans. So I don't know if he gets credit for that or not. Would be zero surprised with any move that the Texans make here, up to and including drafting Lucas Van Ness. I am not going to say that that's the pick. I'm going to say they go with Will Anderson since the wheel dictated I choose defensive line. So Will Anderson Jr. Another year of Davis Mills is
Perfect.
upon us.
I have a question.
Yes, Jordan, I have an answer.
Do edges count for D-line and linebacker on the wheel? Is that what we're
I think that's
calling?
fair. Yeah, we'll call that. We'll call it an edge is both, because you could be an outside linebacker in a 3-4, or you could be a pass, not defensive end in a 4-3. There we go.
Micah Parsons was drafted as an inside linebacker, and we all know he's better with his hand in the dirt.
Exactly. Clark, on a scale of 1 to crushing 10 plus White Claws in a 20-minute period, if the Texans took Will Anderson at 2, where would you fall in that spectrum?
I mean, I would probably need to set that record, set that personal best. I feel like even if the Texans choose, and I'm doing air quotes here for the podcast people, the wrong quarterback, at least they picked a quarterback.
At least they went QB.
If I had my druthers, it'd be Anthony Richardson right here. It's getting spicy, but who knows what the Texans will do.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Will Anderson's favorite movie being the first Transformers? Does that impact your draft?
I mean, it doesn't make him undraftable, but well, I mean,
he was on like Good Morning Football or First Take or something this morning, and that he just had a bunch of fun answers to questions.
Good for him.
Seems like a good kid.
He's a young fella. I'm not going to hold.
Hey, man. I mean, the Houston Texans have a good track record of drafting defensive ends at high in the draft. So that's, let's not poo-poo on that. All right. So I'm the Arizona Cardinals now at 3, and I'm spinning the wheel, and the wheel tells me that I have to pick also a D-line. Well, there we go. We're going to go with Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech. This is the Cardinals actually do need defensive line help. And so this is a very apt pick by the wheel, though I am going to say, wheel, let's make sure we're not landing on the same thing over and over and over again, wheel. Let's do a better job at kind of spicing it up. We're 3 picks in, and we've gotten D-line twice.
Yeah, it's an interesting pick. The really tall, athletic guy who wasn't especially productive in a known for no defense having conference. We'll see how it turns out.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what will happen. This will probably be the most accurate mock draft that's out there on the internet. So it will be interesting to see what the Cardinals do at 3. At number 4, the Colts are sitting pretty with their 2 choice of quarterbacks. But Jordan, will they actually be able to have the opportunity to draft a quarterback?
Defensive lineman.
Oh, a Bill Belichick / Pete Carroll-esque reach.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's do this. So does this kind of mean that like somebody who didn't go to like a Power 5, basically?
Sure.
Is that
however you want to interpret? My interpretation was basically like a round 3 player who's going in the first round. But if you want to, however you want to interpret what Bill Belichick or Pete Carroll would like to see in a player that they're drafting, top 5 overall. Pete Carroll's right behind the Colts too. Is this Chris Ballard overthinking it?
This is hard because every fiber of my being says just go for a quarterback, but
maybe
those wouldn't be reaches in the for Belichick and Carroll.
If Hendon Hooker went at number 4 overall, I think the internet would explode.
I am going to go with. God damn it! I'm just gonna go with. Damn it! This is hard. You guys have made this very hard.
We haven't done anything. It's the wheel. The wheel is in charge.
It is. It's the wheel. You know what? I am going to go with.
But whatever you're thinking, Jordan, is perfect.
Okay, I am taking way too much time on this because I don't know why.
You got to build the drama.
It's a very serious exercise.
Yeah, I mean,
Here's just a reach. I'm gonna go with Michael Mayer, the tight end, the number one tight end in the class for me.
All right.
We all know Bill loves tight ends. We all know Pete Carroll. Once upon a time, he traded for Jimmy Graham.
It's very true.
Will Dissly is one of the best tight ends in the league still, but I'm going to go with Michael Mayer here as just grabbing a pass catcher for no particular reason. QB is the smart move, but I needed a reach, so I went for a reach.
I like it. I like it. It feels fitting. It feels like a move in which you're drafting a position that should not be touched in the top, 20 picks probably, unless you're talking about like a true unicorn player. Love you, Kyle Pitts. And you're doing that at 4 when you had your choice of CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson at quarterback. So I think that's definitely a sign of maturity and true expertise and true grasp in terms of like how to actually approach a draft board, something that both Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll exude constantly. So an excellent choice, Jordan.
Just keeping them in Indiana.
There you go. Clark, the Seattle Seahawks at number 5 are selecting. Well, they get a quarterback. They get the quarterback of the future. They are giddy that the Indianapolis Colts took Michael Mayer at number 4 overall.
Well, since we are talking about old Tricky Pete Carroll,
do it.
I'm going to say this is definitely where Will Levis is going to go to Seattle.
Perfect. I love it. I love it, man. If this is how the draft pays out, the Detroit Lions. Do you trade the pick? Do you just sit there and you say, well, we are going to get our QB of the future? You say neither of those things. You say you are going to get the offensive lineman of your dreams to further bolster that incredible offensive line. I am going to go with what we got in our order of O-lines. I don't think they need to go get a tackle. Tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like they're going to go interior if they're going to address their offensive line. Let's go with, I feel like I should be turning to Jordan as he is the man of the offensive line.
If you want somebody who could play guard but also has a swing tackle,
Peter Skoronski. Perfect.
Yeah, your namesake. So
I'll take that. He is named after me. Detroit Lions at number 6, Pete Skoronski going off the board. Just, when you are building a team, not only do you want to build from the trenches out, you also want to just continuously add to the trenches. You never want to stop adding to the trenches. Even though you can only start 5 offensive linemen, you should really have 7 or 8 starting caliber offensive linemen on your team, just in the way that you should have 5 starting wide receivers. I think this way, if you don't have a tight end, which the Detroit Lions traded away their tight end, well, now you can just run 6 offensive linemen and one of them pretends to be a tight end and doesn't run routes. So I think this is some smash mouth football that could be played in Detroit. So excellent draft pick by them. Wow. A real precipitous fall by CJ Stroud going down on this draft board, and Jalen Carter. I feel like these guys are probably sitting in the green room. There's a lot of camera shots on them, a lot of awkward faces, a lot of awkward pauses. I think CJ Stroud will probably use this as fuel for motivation and really be the best quarterback in this draft. Jordan, do you get the chance to draft him? Ooh, you do. The Las Vegas Raiders can draft any offensive player, Jordan.
Okay, this feels a little bit easier. I'm going to go with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, you're damn right you are.
To the Oakland Raiders, I don't have an offensive. Actually, I could have went O-line here too. They could have used that, but sit Anthony Richardson behind Jimmy G, have a rookie on a cheap deal, and see what happens after the fact. I like CJ Stroud. I think he's good, but I think that since they already made the move for Jimmy G, I definitely feel like they want to play him at least a little bit. Josh McDaniels is there, so yeah, get the guy who might have to sit a few games and then throw him in when Jimmy G inevitably Gets hurt. No, I mean, sorry, Jimmy. It happens.
The last time a super athletic rookie quarterback was behind Jimmy G, it turned out really well. So I think that this will also play out extremely well.
The last time McDaniel drafted a hyper athletic quarterback with some accuracy issues, it went
Also
pretty terribly.
Also worked really well.
Jacoby Brissett.
I am extremely enthusiastic about Anthony Richardson. Playing in a fantasy league with old Pete and Jordan here, I don't mind everybody knowing it. It would ruin my night if the Raiders drafted Anthony Richardson, and there is a decent chance that that's going to happen. I would be so sad.
It could happen. It would also be devastating. Yeah, it would be devastating. I feel like of all the teams in the top 10, they are the last team that I want to draft Anthony Richardson, though the Texans are pretty high on that list too.
I'm so unenthusiastic about Josh McDaniels. He has
you shouldn't be
nothing.
Yeah, there's no reason to be enthusiastic of Josh McDaniels except for torpedo the Denver Broncos, make Tim Tebow a starting quarterback, and renege on a head coaching deal.
I would be so sad.
Anyway. Quite the resume. All right, Jordan just picked. So now it's Clarky boy. Clark, you got the Atlanta Falcons at number 8 overall, and they get to pick a Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll reach. I feel like I should have put a lot more. They should have changed the size of some of these.
So if we're going to do an odd reach and an Arthur Smith offense, if you can call it that, which I don't think that you can do, I'm going to go with something like Brian Breesy, defensive lineman out of Clemson. Projected to go in the first round, and people are excited about him just as a kind of more solid than spectacular player. If I have to reach on a guy that's going to be a shock, I feel old Arthur Smith's going to pick himself a nice, boring defensive lineman here and just ruin all of those Bijan Robinson drafters' nights.
I like it. I'm also very curious as to when we start drafting wide receivers. It might be never. The Atlanta Falcons taking a defensive lineman at 8, especially a reach when they have many other holes to fill, feels very Atlanta. And I, for one, support it wholeheartedly. This is how the Atlanta Falcons stay. Also, I want to give a quick shout out. Nick Bottaford of us and many other things has now stuck it in my brain that I want Ryan Tannehill to go to the Atlanta Falcons in a trade. Because then, it's okay. You're going to sit and tell me that Ryan Tannehill is worse than Desmond Ridder.
No.
Thank you.
But that's like wanting Jimmy G to go somewhere.
Hey,
I want Jimmy G to go somewhere.
One thing, Clark. I want one thing, and I want Kyle Pitts to have a fucking good season.
And it's an upgrade.
Thank you. That's all I care about. Decent quarterback. Just give me a decent quarterback who can actually throw the Kyle Pitts. That being said, it's really not Kyle Pitts not getting the ball thrown to him. It's Arthur Smith not knowing how to use Kyle Pitts, which, that doesn't change regardless who's that quarterback.
Tannehill, famous for throwing to his tight ends.
Right,
that's fair, Jordan.
Why? That's just
Drake London.
My only argument is that I want 2 starting quarterbacks and not Tannehill taking over Desmond Ridder's job, and then who knows what's going on in Tennessee. I guess they could draft one, but I have
Brian
a lot of
Desmond
Ridder stock. I'm just
you do have Desmond Ridder stock. Which, hey, you know what? If he pans out, power to you, Jordan. You were on that boat early. All right, I have the Chicago Bears at number 9. And a lot of defensive linemen coming off the board in this draft. What the hell? Random spin generator. But they're going to get Jalen Carter.
I feel like that's where he lands anyway.
Yeah.
Chock full of needs. If the Bears did get Jalen Carter right there, they would be pleased as punch.
They would be quite pleased. Yeah, they would be quite pleased as punch. So the wheel seemingly has some tendencies, which I'm not a big fan of, but the Chicago Bears are ecstatic that they get Jalen Carter, probably one of, if not the best defensive lineman in this draft.
Maybe the wheel knows this is just a good defensive lineman class.
Maybe we are way overvaluing these quarterbacks and these wide receivers, and the wheel knows that it's actually the defensive linemen that are going to reign supreme in the top 10 of this NFL draft. And hey, honestly, who are we to argue with the wheel?
I bet we have 2 picks right at this point. Skronsky looks like a kneecap biter, and Bryce Young overall number 1. Okay, I feel like that's 50-50. We are killing it.
We are doing really well. We are going to have to keep track of whether or not this actually plays out. I feel like Bryce Young at 1, Jalen Carter at 9, Tyree Wilson at 3. If the Cardinals don't trade out of it, that feels very possible. God, I would absolutely love Will Levi at 5. Would love it. A jacked.
That was for you, Nick. If you're listening, that was for you, Nick.
I'm sure Nick loves.
Yeah, he probably does not like Will Levis either. It's probably not his guy at all.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes, I agree with you, Jordan. All right, number
probably
10,
like 5th on the list.
Philadelphia Eagles. Jordan. They get to select a defensive back, which is actually pretty good for them.
Yeah, they definitely need a defensive back. They got James Bradbury and Darius Slay, but I think they could use some more defensive backs. So I'll go with Christian Gonzalez, defensive back out of Oregon. Dude is fast as hell. I think that he will slot in pretty nicely in Philadelphia. He's got a chance to just kind of go there and not be anonymous, but not have to step in and be like the guy, like a Denzel Ward or what's his name, who just got traded from Detroit to Atlanta.
Yeah,
blanking on it. Jeff Okudah.
Thank you.
Just let him go and develop a little bit more, because I think he does have a little bit more development to do.
I feel like that's
Eagles.
Yeah, well done, Eagles. I feel like that is something. I wonder if we start seeing that more often, because I agree with you, Jordan. I feel we talk a lot. I mean, obviously, the quarterback position is like the pinnacle position, and so everyone talks about that all the time about QBs coming in being NFL ready and throwing them into the fire, or do you let them sit on the bench for a little bit? I feel like cornerback is a position too, where if you like take a guy really high, make like him going from college to the NFL and being instantly thrown into like that number 1 spot, like that lockdown QB1 spot. Correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't seem as if that translates super well. And it seems like it might be a better situation where you're able to like take that corner, put him in a defense where he doesn't need to be the QB1, can kind of learn and figure out, get his feet wet in the NFL, and then kind of start piecing it together in seasons 2 and 3. Like, to me, again, I'm like trying to think. I know Denzel Ward had a pretty good rookie year, if I recall, but like Jalen Ramsey's the last guy who I can think of, and I might be missing someone clear and obvious, but Jalen Ramsey was the last guy who like came into the league and was like ready to go from day 1, in my opinion.
Well, there's been a couple.
Go ahead, Clark.
Oh, that's true.
Pat Surtain,
yeah,
Sauce Gardner. I think the overall you're right in that when it's draft season, we haven't had any real football to watch for an awful long time. So every guy that's coming into the league, he's a perennial All-Pro. He's going to be the best ever. If you could just imagine for a moment being a 21-year-old fella and somebody giving you like $8 million and saying, hey, go up against this person who's been doing this professionally for 6 years. That's a tough transition, at any position. And if you get burned at corner, if you make a bad decision at quarterback, that's like very obvious to everyone, especially the way that they broadcast the game. So I think it's good for anybody not to get thrown in immediately to that superstar role, but some guys can do it.
Yeah, good. I totally spaced on Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner is clearly just did that. So
I think defensive backs are getting better, like wide receivers are, kind of like the mirror of that. But at the same time, I do wonder if like I need a couple more years of data, I feel like, because I don't know if I'm thinking we've had such a big wide receiver boom of guys who are good immediately because we had a great draft of like Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, like all these guys who came in are just instantly good. And then we had Patrick Surtain, and then we had Sauce Gardner, and we have all these guys who are also coming in really good, but who knows right now if we're just being spoiled with just these types of guys. Because wide receiver in this class isn't as great as it has been.
Yeah, that's for sure true. But it's getting built up just because of the success that it's had in the past. Guys, we are outside of the top 10, and the cameras are still on CJ Stroud, just waiting for him to be drafted. Clark at 11 with the Tennessee Titans. Could he go there? We have boring consensus to the Tennessee Titans at 11.
I think at this point that would be CJ Stroud. The Titans have been linked to quarterback. They need one. Even if you love Ryan Tannehill and you're excited about him going to the Falcons, I'm sure you can imagine a world where an upgraded quarterback would be a good idea. Stroud probably not going to fall this far, but Titans fans should be elated that this happened, and still obviously incredibly sad that their team is named after a full-size truck model. So,
or is it really sad that at pick number 12, the Houston Texans could have gotten CJ Stroud after drafting the Will Anderson at number 2 overall? Instead, he goes one pick earlier to the Tennessee Titans, Clark.
AFC South in shambles right now.
Just complete disarray. All right, well, let's see who the Houston Texans do take at 12, as I am in charge of their draft. They are taking a defensive back. They're really, with D'Amico Ryans there as their head coach, they're fortifying this defense, Clark, because you know what defense wins? Championships. Do they say quarterbacks win championships? No. They say defensive wins championships. Devin Witherspoon, QB out of Illinois, come on down. We are going to build this front line. We're going to build this secondary, and teams just won't even be able to move the ball on us. So it doesn't matter that we don't have a quarterback because, hey, we have the best defense in the league. Have I sold you, Clark? Yes,
yeah,
that's a big.
I'm sold, just like those season tickets are going to be sold.
There you go, which is reluctantly. Number 13, the New York Jets, Jordan. They get to select
quarterback.
A Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll reach. This wheel has some preferences. I'm not a fan. Not a fan wheel. You know what? We're gonna re-roll the shuffle the slices because I don't like how this wheel has some clear biases. But anyways, a Pete Carroll-esque reach. Jordan really getting hosed by this slice.
You know what? I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Nolan Smith, the edge out of Georgia. Not for any particular I feel like he might be. There's a lot of volatility. I feel like with Nolan Smith, he's super athletic and super this is another dude who's has athleticism that kind of makes it seem like you could put him at wide receiver, is because that's how fast he is. But I don't know if he's a little bit of a tweener. So adding him to the Jets and being I don't know. I'm trying to think of just a Belichick going for the pedigree of a big Georgia or an Alabama and just picking I don't know. I'm trying to think of these reaches. I don't have enough.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Guys.
You've been dealt a hard hand by the wheel, getting 2 Pete Carroll and Belichick reaches. But with hopefully a spicing of the slices, this wheel can't be a little dick anymore and pigeonholing what our draft looks like. Either that or it's going to be a really defensive line heavy and reach heavy draft, which, kind of here for. Clark at 14, you got to be really nice to my New England Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping that CJ Stroud now can make it to the Packers so that just becomes an ever-loving.
We got to trade. All right, I don't have a wheel to figure out how trades should work. But
I got this.
All right, Clark's got it. Talk to me.
I got this. We got the draft order.
New England Patriots are trading.
They're just moving down a modest 4.5 spots.
Okay, so where are they
Detroit.
going? Detroit.
Down at number 18.
Trades with Detroit Lions next. All right, so
they're going to give up their second this year.
Perfect.
Some second. So this is obviously watertight. And they're going to stop the slide with CJ Stroud.
Oh, CJ Stroud already went to the Texans. You did Titans. You drafted CJ Stroud.
Good. See, I just had to make sure that you were paying attention. So, in a remarkable turn of events, the Detroit Lions get the sliding Jalen Carter from Georgia, who hopefully hasn't been drafted already.
He has been.
He's
Great.
at the Bears.
I'm keeping track of this, so that's how you know it's going really well.
What about like Tampa Bay trading up for a Hendon Hooker?
Give it to
Or
him, bud.
Minnesota.
Trading up for one of these QBs. Or yeah,
Or someone trading up for a wide receiver.
Well, for a wide receiver, the Patriots want to get a wide receiver. Yeah, I can get on board with someone trading up for a Jackson Smith and Jigba. Who would be who would trade up for a wide receiver?
I've already committed.
Okay,
It's the
Clark's
Lions.
already committed. Sorry, it's the Lions. We're in it on the Lions. Okay, I like it. So
And I'm just going to ruin this whole thing.
perfect.
The Lions
it.
are trading up to get Bijan Robinson.
Perfect. I love it. I am here for it. They're trading to get a 4 picks. They're just trading their 2nd round pick this year, right?
Yep.
Just to confirm. Okay. Oh, the trade was declined, Clark. You got to offer more.
Oh.
All right, let's make this work. We're just going to say, because it's my Patriots and I'm in charge, they're going to trade their 2nd and their 1st and 2nd next year. The Lions really want Bijan Robinson. What? The trade has been declined? What is with this sim?
Yeah, by the Lions.
All right.
We don't have to abide by this board.
We have to. All right. The Lions trade with the Patriots. The Lions are going to send 18 and we'll say a 1st next year for a 14. Trade's been accepted. Bingo. Okay. And they're taking Bijan Robinson. Excellent. Hey, there have been, maybe this is Belichick sprinkling the breadcrumbs with all those recent mock drafts that have Bijan Robinson going to the Patriots at 14. That's just some Bill Belichick master play. He knows in reality, Bill Belichick's never going to actually draft a running back, but Dan Campbell doesn't know that. And Dan Campbell says, here, have pick 18 overall and my 1st round next year. I really want to get myself Bijan Robinson. That would be devastating to David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift managers, but I'm here for it.
And for Bijan Robinson, to be honest.
It feels like a move that then DeAndre Swift would get traded on draft day. Maybe we should have included him in the trade. That probably would have gotten it done. Does this mean I am number 15 for the Green Bay Packers, who at this point are Aaron Rodgers lists, maybe? And we can go offense. Anyone on the offensive side of the football? Well, Jordan has already taken my number 1 target for the Green Bay Packers, which is Michael Mayer. So instead, we're going to just put a big old fat middle finger to Aaron Rodgers as he walks out the door. And we say, hey, guess what? You leave. We're going to draft a 1st round wide receiver. You can suck it. Jordan Love gets Jackson Smith and Jigba as his top target. Jordan, how are you feeling after this draft?
I feel like if he's available at 15, you run the card up to the podium and make sure that he just gives Roger Goodell a big old hug. I love Jackson Smith and Jigba for the Packers. I just love the idea of pairing him, doing all the underneath, the sharp route running to Christian Watson's over the top, big explosive plays. Great security blanket for Jordan Love.
Seems like it is a good pick by yours truly. I should be an NFL GM. Jordan picking for the Washington Commanders, which Jordan could actually be doing in real life. Are you a part of the purchasing team, Jordan? Are you about to become a Washington Commanders owner?
I have a small share.
Perfect.
Yes.
Great. Well, your small share is allowing you to draft a linebacker for the Washington Commanders.
Should we recap? Can we recap for us and for the audience?
Of course. That's a very good point. If you are not watching on YouTube, this can be very convoluted. First, you should go watch on YouTube because we have the draft there waiting for you. But let's start quickly. Pick number 1 overall to the Panthers, Bryce Young. Will Anderson went 2 to the Texans. Cardinals at 3 took Tyree Wilson. 4, the Colts took Michael Mayer. 5, the Seahawks took Will Levis. 6, the Lions took Peter Sorkinski. 7, the Las Vegas Raiders took Anthony Richardson. Brian Breesy went 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. Jalen Carter went 9 to the Chicago Bears. Philadelphia Eagles at 10 took Christian Gonzalez. Tennessee Titans at 11 stopped the slide, got CJ Stroud. Number 12, the Houston Texans took Devon Witherspoon, 13, Nolan Smith went to the New York Jets. 14, Bijan Robinson to the New York, and by New York, I mean Detroit Lions, who traded with the New England Patriots. And number 15, Jackson Smith-Njigba went to the Green Bay Packers. We are at 16 on the clock for the Washington Commanders.
All right. If I'm picking a linebacker, I'm going with Miles Murphy out of Clemson.
Delightful.
Solid athletic edge for them, even though I'm not sure they need an edge necessarily because they got a lot of guys, but they'll just be running like a Eagles platoon style pass rush situation, just all the pass rushers for them.
It also feels like something where maybe it's not a bad, like, given how much edge players cost, maybe it's not the worst thing to just kind of like keep drafting really elite talent at the edge position, and you just kind of cycle them out once their rookie contract is over, and you don't have to invest a shit ton of money in your edge position. Just an idea for you, Jordan, as a new owner of the Washington Commanders, just a little way for you to save money and make the most on your investment.
Sam Howell's our guy.
Sam Howell is leading this team to greatness. Clark, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just traded for Allen Robinson, let the record show. Are we excited about that, Clark?
No.
Okay, well, they're double dipping. They're getting a wide receiver now, too.
Najee Harris, maybe? That offensive line and Kenny Pickett have a long way to go before we're excited about the Steelers' offense again.
Well, they are just adding some offensive weaponry, Clark. They're adding a wide receiver. Which wide receiver are they adding? Which wide receiver is going to turn out to be incredible, a la George Pickens, a la Antonio Brown, a la Juju Smith-Schuster, a la literally every wide receiver the Steelers have drafted?
So I feel like Zay Flowers fits the mold for a scrappy Pittsburgh wide receiver. A little bit of a smaller guy, but tenacious, went to a smaller school, highly skilled. The Steelers hate... Well, no, they've drafted some big wide receivers.
But
Zay Flowers.
Yep.
To the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I love it. It's very devastating because now that the Patriots moved back to 18, Zay Flowers would have been a delightful pick at 18. But again, I am at the whimsy of the wheel as to whether or not Bill Belichick takes a wide receiver, and he doesn't. Somehow, even after a spicing up of the slices, this wheel loves defensive linemen. This is a defensive lineman heavy draft. The Patriots are going to go with Lucas Van Ness. Why not? Edge out of Iowa. Feels like a Belichick pick, a guy who just plugs and plays. I don't know. I'm just speaking because he's a white guy from Iowa. Feels like a plug and play player.
Lunch pail guy.
A lunch pail guy. A real clock
motor.
in, clock out.
High motor.
Jim Rat.
First one in the building.
Last one out is the way that Bill Belichick likes to have his guys play. So Lucas Van Ness to the New England Patriots at 18 overall. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jordan, at 19 are going to be taking a good Lord, Jordan. You really are just the wheel does not like
it
you,
again,
man.
God damn.
the wheel is really having it out for you. We're going to do another shuffle of the slices.
Am I still doing the Belichick Carroll pick?
You are, or you could do a running back if you want, but I think the Belichick Carroll pick seems you're going 3 for 3, Jordan. You're doing great.
We're going Hendon Hooker, man.
Love
Why
it.
not?
Love it. I think
it's more of a need pick, but whatever.
Hey, if Hendon Hooker, I feel like if Hendon Hooker went in the first round, people would be a little surprised by it.
He's 25 and people are worried about the age, but maybe he can be a mature guy that squeezes a little bit more out of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and those guys.
It worked for Brandon Weeden. It'll work for Hendon Hooker. 20 overall, Seattle Seahawks. Now let's see. Seattle Seahawks have already have Will Levi Will Levis as their quarterback of the future at 20. Clark, they will also be addressing their linebacker room.
Good.
Do you want to look at the
Good.
linebackers that are available?
No, I have my own list of
Hit me.
players who've not
Good.
been crossed
Talk
off
to me.
properly. We're gonna go Derek Hall out of Auburn, SEC guy. That's all I know.
Derek Hall out of Auburn. All right.
And you also have to do the Pete Carroll reach.
I mean,
for
you did
all
it.
Pete
All
Carroll
Pete Carroll
picks.
picks. I like it. No, that's a commitment to the bit, and I appreciate it, and I approve. Los Angeles Chargers. These teams need to just stay in the place that I know them as and not keep moving. Please and thank you. Los Angeles Chargers are going to select. Oh, God, I really wish they had landed on quarterback. That would have been fun. But running back, Austin Eckler being spoken of being traded, will give me Jahmyr Gibbs. Plug him in right into that backfield, and we have another explosive piece to lead us to a second round exit in classic Chargers fashion. Perfect. That being said, Jahmyr Gibbs in the Chargers, if they traded Austin Eckler, I'd be very excited fantasy-wise. Baltimore Ravens, 22 overall. Jordan, oh my goodness, what if we land on quarterback? Speaking of quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts got paid a shit ton of money. Congrats to him. Just want to throw that out there. Figured we should cover some news eventually on this show. And the Lamar, I don't know, catering to Lamar. That sounds so negative, and I don't want it to sound negative, but appeasing Lamar continues. They go offense.
Absolutely.
Jordan. Yes.
I regret to inform Lamar that it's not going to be in the pass catching. It's going to be in the trenches. We are going to protect you, my guy.
Yes.
Paris Johnson Jr., come on down. I know
Beautiful.
You're probably in the green room still.
100%.
Yeah, just another body. These guys, honestly, they need extra bodies because they were unbelievably injured last year. And the way that this offense is going to want to operate, they're going to want their anchors on the ends of those offensive lines, on that offensive line to work. So
I love it. First of all, Paris Johnson, we apologize for the amount of time that you had to sit there in the green room, but could you have asked for a better landing spot? No, you could not have. You get to play for a perennial playoff team, Super Bowl contender, Lamar Jackson under center. You're welcome. Think of this as a blessing in disguise. Minnesota Vikings at number 23, Clark. You are going to select a wide receiver.
Well, one of the consensus top wide receivers left is Quentin Johnston. We'll pair him with a great Justin Jefferson and hopefully maybe get another year or two out of Kirk Cousins instead of flailing a la Jimmy Garoppolo and Ryan Tannehill.
This one makes a lot of sense to me. If we are looking back on this draft as picks that could actually occur, Quentin Johnston to the Minnesota Vikings at 23. Not against it. I feel like with Adam Thielen leaving, they could add a little more explosion, obviously at that position. You have KJ Osborne, who I'm a big fan of, but I think you need to have a legit second running mate alongside Justin Jefferson, and of course TJ Hawkinson. I like Quentin Johnston there at 23 to the Vikings. 24, Jacksonville Jaguars. The wheel is spinning for me, and it tells me that I have to address the Jaguars' number one need. All right. Well, according to this Pro Football Network mock simulator, the Jaguars' number one need is cornerback. And so they will let's draft Joey Porter Jr. Why not? Joey Porter Jr. adding to the Jackson Jaguars secondary. Jacksonville Jaguars. Jackson Jaguars. They're shortening their name because it's too long. All right. What are we at? We got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 more picks, you guys. This is a very efficient mock draft. Well done on our parts. And I feel like could be 100% accurate. We could be batting 1,000 so far. Jordan, GM for the New York Giants, linebacker. At least it's not a Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick reach. And a position that the Giants could use.
I think I'm up to date here. Can I see the edges real quick though? Yeah, you already have them. All right, this might be just plain old fun. I'm going to draft BJ Ojulari to team him up with his brother Azeez Ojulari.
Love it.
The New York Giants.
That's just what we're here for in the chaos draft.
No, Ojulari out of LSU is a pretty good athlete, and with he's got Azeez there. They drafted Kayvon Thibodeau last year. This is going to be Washington and the New York Giants. I'm coming in and I'm here to give you a platoon of pass rushers. Attack the QB.
In this day and age is 100% the right strategy in building your defense. Excellent. I love it. Always here for brothers teaming up in the NFL. I feel like it can only lead to truly great things. Clark, man, this draft is really falling perfectly for you as probably the biggest Cowboys fan I know, drafting an offensive lineman for them.
Well, you can never have too many tackles. The top tackle on my list, we've got Broderick Jones. Really disappointed. Old Paris got drafted right from the grasp of the Cowboys, but Broderick Jones out of Georgia, sophomore offensive tackle. That always looks good. 6'5", 311 pounds.
Massive.
Perfect. Love it. Big bruiser for Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, wait. Big bruiser for Tony Pollard. Love it. That's investing in your offense. 27, Buffalo Bills are going to draft oh, God, it was so close to making me draft a quarterback. That would have been fun. That would have been some good chaos. But instead, they're going to draft a wide receiver, which also makes a lot of sense. And let's go with Jordan Addison. Why not get another weapon for Josh Allen and get another piece that the offense can actually move through outside of Stephon Diggs as their number one option. I think that this is something the Bills need to do, is to get other pieces in this offense. I think Gabe Davis, after a lot of big expectations for him this year, was a pretty big letdown, both in fantasy and in actual football. So I think getting another wide receiver here, another piece to be an explosive part of this offense, makes all the sense in the world. And the wheel might be onto something there. They're doing not doing bad so far after this, fifth time of shuffling the slices.
Addison would
like that.
Go ahead, Jordan.
I was just going to say real quick, I like that as a slick, like maybe slide him into the Isaiah McKenzie role every now and then, because McKenzie's only 5'8", 173. So Addison's not much bigger than him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Addison becomes your fantasy dynasty wide receiver too, if he actually ends up in the Bills system. Of course, behind JSN. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Cincinnati Bengals at number 28 overall. Jordan is spinning for them, and they will be drafting a just general offense, almost specifically tight end, but Jordan gets the whole pick of the offensive litter.
Ooh. God. The core of my being is always like offensive line.
I know. It's a beautiful sight to behold.
You know what? They signed Orlando Brown Jr. this offseason, so maybe they don't need to address tackle at this point. They can go and get some interior guys later in the draft. So I'm going to go with Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah. The guy is a very good athlete. And you know what? Their tight end right now is, can you guys name who their tight end is listed on their depth chart right now?
Is it Randy Moss's son?
No.
Damn. Is it CJ Uzuma is in New York? Hayden Hurst. Is Hayden Hurst still there?
Nope. It is Irv Smith Jr.
I was
followed by
No.
Devin Asiasi as the
Oh
tight
my
end too.
God.
So
I mean, Irv Smith, been waiting for you to break out, so finally do it, please. But wow, that is a room that could use a rookie standout. Man, if only Michael Mayer didn't go 4th overall, they'd be sitting pretty.
top 5 tight end money. That's what you want.
Oh, I love it. All right. Clark picking for the New Orleans Saints at 29 overall, and they are going to get straight from a mock. All right. Well, what mock do you want, Jordan? All right, Clark. Or do you have a mock in front of you?
I always enjoy the Walter football mock.
Walter
So that's the
Football
one
2023
that I have
mock
up in
draft.
front of me.
Oh, you have it in front of you? Perfect.
Have to go to the second round here. And I know the guy is definitely going to have been picked already because that's how this draft has gone for me so far. Yes, and Nolan Smith, who has already been selected.
Hey, Nolan Smith only picked 15 spots earlier.
So that means free pick for me. We're going to
Perfect.
stop the slide. The Saints continue to build on defense, pick up Brian Branch, safety out of Alabama.
Feels like a Saints pick if he was there. I like that. Especially with who's their head coach? Who's Allen? Something Allen.
Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen. God, what a forgettable name. All right. Philadelphia Eagles back, number 30 overall, and they are going to trade. Oh, man. All right. I have no idea who is going to trade with the Eagles, but this feels like a very Eagles move. A lot of corners on the board. I feel like some corner needy team could select, or maybe someone wants Isaiah Foskey, who's an edge needy team that could trade up. You know what? Let's try this. The Eagles are going to trade with the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos.
Just trade with Casey. I'll trade with you.
The Denver Broncos are going to send, they don't care about first round picks. They don't care about anything. They're going to send 56 and a first next year. No, we're going to send. Yes, let's do this. Let's get crazy here. Let's see if they accept this. We're going to send Cortland Sutton and 67 overall for the 30th pick. Propose. Trade was declined. God damn it. All right, let's see if I do it this way. This worked last time. Eagles. Cortland Sutton. We're going to send Cortland Sutton and the 67th for the 30th. Propose. Trade was declined. Well, that was a good idea, but it's now being declined. So this is excellent, excellent podcast television. Feel free to fill the time, you guys, as I figure out who is going to trade for the Eagles. Well, we'll just say the Broncos trade. I want to just force it through. This is stupid that I can't just force it through.
Trade with the Chiefs, and then you can just pick a different player next time.
Perfect. We're going to trade with the Chiefs. They're just going to swap picks, and the Chiefs are adding 63. Trade was declined. I hate this simulator. You're the worst. You're stupid, and I hate you. Why can't I not just say, make this trade happen? Fine. 30th, 67, 68, and a third next year. No, 30th, 68, 68, and Cortland Sutton. Propose. Confirm. Oh my God, I hate everything.
You should just spin again.
Spinning. I should have done that a while ago. Anyways, I think that the fun with the Eagles trade for Cortland Sutton. Yeah. Defense. All right. Well, the Eagles are just going to continue to build. Well, fine. They'll get Isaiah Foskey. Perfect. The Eagles continue to add to their ever incredible defense. They lose Brandon Graham in the offseason. This is perfect. Perfect replacement for Brandon Graham.
I think he's still there, but also he's like 35.
Perfect replacement for Brandon Graham when he eventually leaves, because he's old. I appreciate Pro Football Network that you have this beautiful simulator. I appreciate that you want to make these trades semi-realistic, but for podcasting purposes, give us a force the trade through, please and thank you.
It sounds like they're going to get a handwritten letter from the producer of this podcast if they're not careful.
All right, Jordan, wrap us up. 31 overall, the Kansas City Chiefs will select. Oh, gosh, nothing makes Jordan happier than being able to pick a offensive lineman for the reigning Super Bowl champs.
Oh yeah, especially because they just lost a guy.
They
You know,
did.
they made that deal for Orlando Brown Jr. and then they had to trade him away. They did trade for Jawan Taylor though, but they're going to play him at left tackle. Who knows how that's going to work out? Yeah, I think I'm still going to stick with tackle because they have Creed and Joe Thuney. So let's go with I'm going to go with Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. Another big guy, a mountain of a man. Post him on the outside or try something different. Who knows? They like to reshuffle their offensive line and make people play in different areas. So you can't go wrong protecting the franchise here.
No. Seems like a worthy pick. Well, there you go. There is the chaos first round that we all predicted will go perfectly. To recap, here's how the draft played out. We'll go round one down. Our pick overall. Bryce Young, first overall, to the Panthers. Texans, Will Anderson Jr. Cardinals, Tyree Wilson. Colts, Michael Mayer, tight end out of Notre Dame. Seahawks, Will Levis, quarterback out of Kentucky. Lions, Will Jeans. 6 at Lions, Peter Soronsky. Raiders, Anthony Richardson at 7. Atlanta Falcons, Brian Breesy. Chicago Bears, Jalen Carter. Philadelphia Eagles, Christian Gonzalez. Tennessee Titans, CJ Stroud. Houston Texans, Devon Witherspoon. New York Jets, Nolan Smith. Detroit Lions, Bijan Robinson. Green Bay Packers, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Washington Commanders, Miles Murphy. Pittsburgh Steelers, Zay Flowers. New England Patriots, Lucas Van Ness. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Hendon Hooker. Seattle Seahawks, Derek Hall. Los Angeles Chargers, Jahmyr Gibbs. Baltimore Ravens, Paris Johnson Jr. Minnesota Vikings, Quentin Johnston. Jacksonville Jaguars, Joey Porter Jr. New York Giants, BJ Ojulari. Dallas Cowboys, Broderick Jones. Buffalo Bills, Jordan Addison. Cincinnati Bengals, Dalton Kincaid. New Orleans Saints, Brian Branch. Philadelphia Eagles tried to trade the pick away, were unable to do so. Isaiah Foskey. And then finally, the reigning Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, Darnell Wright at 31 overall. What in a truly incredible draft. I am going to see if we can, yes, make it small enough to see the entire draft. And we will take a picture of this and we will save it for our documents so that when the draft actually occurs, and we are 100% right, we have the receipts. Because that is all that matters.
We might have even gotten a couple of these right.
I feel like we got over under 4.5 picks.
The process is insane, but I feel like we didn't get any more right or wrong than somebody who's just throwing out a mock draft and
actually,
like, because they're almost never as accurate as anybody thinks.
Yeah, only one trade though, surprising.
I'll go over 4.5.
Yeah, I feel like that's very bullish of us, but I like it. I think I would go over 4.5 as well. Maybe even the top 4. Maybe we had it right. Maybe Michael Mayer was going to go 4 overall. Who knows? But that's all we got for you this week. Make sure you rate and subscribe to your podcast on the podcast platform of choice for you. Follow us on Twitter at NerdBallFF. You can follow myself at Pete M. Rogers. Follow Clark at NFL Clark and Jordan at Jordan_Smith27. Make sure you check out all the amazing content we're putting out on our website at nerdballff.com. And we will be back at you next week with even more delightful fantasy football NFL content. Until then, my fellow nerds.